So today we are in preparation for your IGCSE exams, which is coming soon, like in 2 weeks' time, right? 2 or 3 weeks' time. And so today's workshop is basically on this subject, yeah, accounting subject. So the code is 0452. So I hope all of you are taking this, right? Okay, so my name is Jaya Jyoti. Okay, just saying to share with you first before we move on. We think the Cambridge curriculum is super preparation for university, because after this, the next phase of your life is university, right? You're going to go through your pre-U and also your degree program. So this is actually said by Christoph Guttentag, Dean of Undergrad Admission, Deep University in USE, right? So basically, all of y'all are known as Cambridge learners because you have been in this school since your grade 1, I guess, right? So as a Cambridge learner, when you actually graduate from your international school, what are the attributes that you're actually carrying along with you is what you can see in that circle there, right? So you're responsible, you're reflective. All right, I hope you agree with all that. You are innovative because the way the curriculum is planned for you. You are engaged because we have a very small ratio between teacher and students. Therefore, the two-way communication or the engagement is always there. And you have made yourself very confident. So by the time you graduate, I think even now also, I'm sure you're very confident, right? So that is actually very important in your life, yeah? So you have to be, must dare to make mistakes for you to learn. All right? Okay, so that's a little bit about Cambridge IGCSE. So what I'm going to do now is just recap, yeah? Because your IG will cover your grade 9 and your grade 10, right? So what we are doing in classrooms now is just basically past year papers, right? But just to go through with you overall, yeah, what we have done from grade 9, right? So, okay, before we go into the subject content, yeah, so you need to know your assessment overview, right? Where all candidates, you need to take 2 papers, and candidates are eligible for grades from A star. Okay, I'm sure all of you are going to get A star. Be confident, right? Up to G, you can never even look at the G, yeah? We don't want the G at all, right? So we have 2 papers where you have paper 1, which is actually MCQ, multiple choice question. You will have A, B, C, D, E, and then you just choose the most accurate answer, right? Sometimes, okay, these MCQ papers are kind of very tricky, yeah? Most of the time, because all the answers will look correct, the same, right? Similar meaning, but you have to choose the best answer, the most accurate answer, right? For that, you need to have a very in-depth knowledge about your topics, all right? So you will have 35 questions in your MCQ, which is your paper 1, and that contributes 30% of your overall accounting paper, right? And what I've written there, the questions will be based on all syllabus content, which I'm going to share with you shortly. So don't spot any topics. All the topics are covered in your IG exam. All right? So, and it's externally assessed. Okay, I think that one you know. And then you also have your paper 2, which is about 1 hour and 45 minutes. So this is actually a structured written paper. So there's no MCQs. So you have to calculate and you have to evaluate and you have to write your comments, discuss, and so and so. So this paper is actually 100 marks, yeah, where you have 5 questions and each question is 20 marks. So you have 5 questions, so it's 100 marks. So therefore, this one will be 70%. It will contribute 70% of your overall accounting paper. So 30% comes from paper 1, 70% comes from paper 2. So you add it up, it's actually 100%. Okay, so same thing for paper 2, questions will be based on all the syllabus content, all the topics. Okay, so far so good? Right. Okay, now let's look at the objectives, yeah? So what the examiner or what the IG actually looking at, yeah, the objectives. So we have 3 objectives here. First one is knowledge and understanding, where you're supposed to demo the knowledge and understanding of facts, terms, principles, policies, procedures and techniques that are in the syllabus. So in accounting, you see a lot of formulas, a lot of principles, a lot of procedures, a lot of methods, right? So you need to understand all that. Demo understanding of knowledge through numeracy, literacy, presentation, interpretation, and also apply this knowledge and understanding in various accounting situations and problems. So you need to know, okay, this is my accounting situation. Which method should I use? Which policy should I look at? Which procedure am I going to follow? Right? So that understanding is very important. So that is the first objective, yeah? Your knowledge and understanding of all the principles, policies, and procedures that they're going to test you on, right? Second is analysis. Select data which is relevant to identified needs of business. Order, analyze, and present information in an appropriate accounting form. So what they are trying to say here is, so we are going to learn many principles, many policies, many procedures, right? So which one are we going to use in different types of organization? Like for instance, if you are dealing with trading companies, okay, what is the format when I want to prepare my financial statement? When you're dealing with clubs and societies, what is the format? When I'm dealing with manufacturing companies, okay, what do I do? What method do I use? Right? Okay, that's what they're saying in the second objective, yeah? Okay, what is my last one there? The third objective, evaluation, right? Interpret and evaluate accounting information and draw reasoned conclusion, right? So basically what they say there is, once you already prepare all your financial statements, what is my next step? I want to make decision. So how to make decision? I need to be able to evaluate my financial statements. How do I evaluate? One of the ways is I calculate ratios. Okay, do you see that? So these are the three objectives that they will be testing you in your IG exams. Okay, so far so good. Right. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, according to the assessment objective, yeah, what is the weightage of each component? We got three objectives, right? So if I look at my paper one will test you on objective 1 and objective 2, which is knowledge and understanding, and also the analysis part. But the evaluation part is 0. That means 80% on your knowledge and understanding, 20% on the analysis. So evaluation is where you have to calculate and you have to interpret and you have to write it, right? But paper 1 is MCQ. That's why you see a 0 there, because you're not going to write anything. You're just going to circle the right answer, right? Whereby when you see, if you see in paper 2, still the first objective carries highest weightage, yeah, 60%. The analysis is 25% and the evaluation is 15%. That means you have to do some calculations and you have to write out your analysis and decision making. So, so from here, roughly, you know, yeah, which one is important now? The first objective is very important, your knowledge and your understanding of all the procedures, policies, right? Okay, so that's a little bit about the percentage or the weightage on your exams. Okay, now let's just quickly run through about the subject content, right? So this is from your grade 9, yeah, when you started your accounting last year. So the very first topic, we actually got 7 topics, right? The very first topics is the fundamentals of accounting. Okay, I'm sure at this stage you already know, yeah, what is accounting. So I just quickly go through, understand and explain the difference between bookkeeping and accounting. So you need to know what is bookkeeping and what is accounting. Both also, when you look at the term, it looks similar, right? But there is a difference, right? So what is bookkeeping basically? You identify the transaction and then you record it. That's it. That is bookkeeping. That means, make it simple, keep the books, right? You write it in the books, right? So what does identify mean? I identify if the transaction got monetary value or not. If got monetary value, I record it. If no monetary value, I don't record it. I don't do bookkeeping. Okay, clear? So this kind of understanding is very important, right? Okay, once I already record it, what is accounting then? From the one that I have recorded, I'm going to use that to prepare my financial statements, right? What are financial statements? I have income statement, I have a statement of a financial position, I have statement of changes in equity, I have statement of retained earnings, many types of statements, all right? And then state the purpose of measuring business profit and loss. So you also must understand, why are you preparing the profit and loss statement or the income statement, right? So when you start a business, what do you want to know? Whether you make profit or losses. So that's the purpose. And then explain the role of accounting in providing information for monitoring progress and decision making. Okay, that is the first part. And the next important part that you need to know is the accounting equation. Okay, this one all just refreshing you. What is accounting equation? Asset is equals to liabilities plus owner's equity. So for that, you need to know what are assets, what are liabilities, what are owner's equity. See, this one covers your first objective, knowledge and understanding of each topic, right? So you must know what are assets. Assets are divided into two categories. I got non-current asset, I got current asset. What falls under non-current asset? What are the conditions for you to park an account under non-current asset or current asset? Okay, so same thing goes to current liability, non-current liability, and also owner's equity. Right? So that is the first one. Second one, sources and recording of data. So now we already know what is bookkeeping and what is accounting. So the next thing we do is we start recording it. Okay, how do you record it? There's also some procedures that you need to follow for you to record it. Remember just now we saw, right? In the first objective, you have procedures, terms, principles, policies, and so and so. So accounting, you need to follow the standard, yeah? So outline the double entry system of bookkeeping. So when you say double entry, meaning I'll have debit and also credit. All right? So prepare the ledger accounts, post the ledger accounts, interpret the ledger accounts, and so, yeah? So that means basically in bookkeeping, we know we have journals, we have ledgers, and what do we do after that? We close the ledgers and bring it to our trial balance. We balance our trial balance. From there, then we prepare all our financial statements, right? Okay, just a note for you down there. Candidates do not need to explain or use folio columns, right? So normally when we do ledgers or journals, there will be one small column. We call it as folio. Folio meaning references, right? So for your level, IG level, so you don't have to explain or use that folio columns. If let's say in your exams, they give you the format and they have a column for folio, you can just ignore the folio column. Okay? Don't bother so much about the folio columns, yeah? And then candidates do not need to explain or use the 3-column running balance account. Okay, what does this mean? You just have to do your ledger account, your T account. You know how your T account looks like, right? You have your date, you have your details, and you have your debit and credit, right? So 3 columns meaning where you have your date, your details, and let's say you talk about bank book, you have your in, out, and the balance is updated after every transaction. So you don't have to worry about the 3 column. You don't have to even prepare that 3 column, right? But anyway, you need not to worry because in IG, the format is given to you. You just have to fill it up. Okay, good? Right. Okay, take note of that. So you need to know all these business documents, like invoice, debit note, credit note, statement of accounts, what is a check, what is a receipt, right? Okay, those are the things that you need to take note. Understand the use of all these documents, which I just mentioned, the invoice, debit note, credit note. In what situation do you use all these documents, right? And also book of prime entry. We have 7 books of prime entry. Yeah? We have cash book, petty cash book, sales journal, purchase journal, sales return journal, purchase return journal, and also general journal. So all this you need to know. And what else? I just go to the important point. Yeah. Okay. You also need to know distinguish between trade discount and cash discount. What is trade discount? What is cash discount? And what else? Then the last one, the impress petty cash system is also very important for you to know. Yeah. Okay. We know what is petty cash book, but you must also know what is impress petty cash system, right? So what is impress? Simply topping up or replenish the amount to a certain fixed amount stated by the company or organization. Okay, so that is topic 2. Okay, next one, third one, verification of accounting records. So like what I said just now, we have bookkeeping and accounting, right? In bookkeeping, we basically record all the transactions if it has monetary value. Am I right? Correct? Right. So once you have done that, what do you do next is you post it to your trial balance. And you must make sure your trial balance is balanced, right? So to verify your accounting records, we use the trial balance. Understand that the trial balance is a statement of ledger balances on a particular date. Okay, take note of that also, yeah. So when you prepare your trial balance, how do I put it? I put the title, company's name, trial balance, as at particular date, right? As at. So outlines the users and, okay, you need to know the users and limitations of the trial balance. Okay, you prepare and identify and explain those errors which do not affect the trial balance. Like we have error of commission, error of compensating, error of omission, error of principal, and so many types of error, right? So basically you need to know, yeah, what kind of error which will make my trial balance don't balance, and what kind of errors, even though they are still errors, but my trial balance will still balance, right? So you need to understand that part on your trial balance. And then the next one will be correction of errors. So how do I correct it? Basically, I use journals to do my corrections, right? Okay, so you can also correct errors by means of creating suspense account, right? When do I use suspend accounts? Simply when I key in on one side and I forget to key in on the other side. Therefore, my trial balance won't balance. So in that situation, then I will create a suspense account, right? Okay, that is a little bit about correction of errors. And of course, you also need to do your bank reconciliation. What is bank reconciliation? When your cash book don't agree with your bank statement balance. So what basically we do in bank reconciliation is we make the balance agree, both sides. What is the difference, right? So for that, you need to know uncredited deposit, unpresented checks. You see the second one, update the cash book for bank charges, bank interest paid or received. Sometimes some transaction appears in your bank, but it don't appears in your book, right? So that is the process of bank reconciliation. So you need to understand that, yeah? Which one will appear there and don't appear here? Which one appears the other side and don't appear this side? Then you reconcile, right? The differences. Okay, then of course, the next one will be control accounts. So we have purchase ledger control account and sales ledger control account. So what are these control accounts? Simply just remember this. Sales ledger control accounts is just same as your debtors account or your trade receivables account. And purchase ledger control account is simply your trade creditors account, right? Or trade payables account, right? Okay, so you need to understand when you're preparing these control accounts, you need to know what are cash discounts, irrecoverable debt, dishonored checks, interest on overdue accounts, contra entries, refunds like purchase returns, sales returns, right? And all this need to be taken. You need to know for you to prepare your control accounts, right? So you need to understand which side it goes, yeah, debit side or credit side. That's why I make it simple just now. Just remember, sales ledger control account means my debtors account. Whatever you do in your debtors account is what you do in your sales ledger control account. Whatever you do in your creditors account is what you do under your purchases ledger control account. Okay, good? Right. Then next one will be accounting procedures. Okay, there are some things that you need to do also before you move on to your financial statement. Okay, what we are discussing now is, first is bookkeeping, right? Okay, after you do bookkeeping, you post it to your trial balance, right? So after trial balance only, we do prepare all our financial statement. But before you prepare your financial statement, these are the things that you have to look at first, right? Like we have first one, capital and revenue expenditure and receipts. Meaning you need to know what is capital expenditure, what is revenue expenditure, what is capital income, what is revenue income, which expenses falls under which category, right? So that is 4.1. And then also the next one will be depreciation and disposal of non-current asset. So when do I provide depreciation? Depreciation is actually provided for non-current asset or fixed asset. What is non-current asset? Assets that I'm going to keep for more than a year. Okay, is that clear? Right? Any asset which is movable within a year, I don't provide depreciation. Okay, is that clear? So that's why they put there non-current asset, yeah? So you need to provide depreciation. So when you talk about depreciation, we got three methods to depreciation, right? You got straight line method, reducing balance method, and also valuation method. So you need to know all these three methods, how to calculate, the depreciation, right? So different organizations use different method, or sometimes in the same organization, they use all different methods for different current assets, right? And sometimes you also will dispose it after certain years, the non-current asset. Okay, how to record in your ledgers or journals, right? When you dispose your accounts. Yeah, the last one, prepare the ledger account and journal entries to record the sale of non-current asset, including the use of disposal account. Okay, all this you need to be familiar with when you talk about depreciation, right? So you have depreciation account, you have your provision for depreciation account. If you're disposing, you will have your disposal account. And when you're disposing, sometimes either you make money or you lose money. So you will have your gain from disposal account or losses from disposal account. All right. Okay, that's about depreciation. Then you also have to look at other payables and other receivables. Recognize the importance of matching costs and revenue. Okay, what basically they say here, accrued and prepaid. What is accrued? That means I'm supposed to pay, but I have not paid yet. What is prepaid? I'm supposed to pay, and I already paid in advance, right? So you must know the treatment, yeah, where it falls in your balance sheet or statement of financial position, and how to prepare the ledger account and journal entries. Okay, that's a little bit about payables and receivables. Okay, then we have irrecoverable debts and provision for doubtful debts. Okay, what are irrecoverable debts? Okay, previously it is known as bad debts. Okay, since this year, yeah, 2023, they have changed it. So we don't use bad debts anymore. Take note of this, yeah. So instead, we will call it as irrecoverable debts. So don't put bad debts in your exam, yeah. So the term has been changed to or updated to irrecoverable debts. So what are bad debts basically? When you are unable to collect the payment or the money or the owings from your customers, then we will declare it as bad debts. Okay, again, I'm saying bad debts, no, irrecoverable debts, right? So, and then we have bad debts written off. That is the old term. Okay, take note again. Now we don't call it as bad debts written off. We call it as recovery of debts written off. Okay, these are all updated terms, yeah? So I think only these two things you need to take note. The rest is still the same. All right. Okay, then of course, when you talk about that, you must know how to prepare the ledger accounts, the journal entries, and explain the reasons for maintaining a provision for doubtful debts. You need to know why we are actually providing the provision, yeah? So we don't understate or overstate our profit, right? Okay, that is a little bit about irrecoverable debt. And then valuation of inventory is also important, right? So understand the basis of valuation of inventory at a lower of cost or net realizable value, right? And then also the entries, yeah? How do you do your journal entries for inventory? Okay, take note of that. Okay, preparation of financial statement, yeah? So we know what are financial statements. We got income statement, statement of financial position, and so as what I mentioned earlier. But when you want to prepare your financial statement, we have actually covered a few organizations, yeah, in your IG syllabus, where we looked at sole traders. Who are sole traders? Sole proprietorship, meaning one-man show. That means I start the business, I run the business, and I take the profit. Yeah, I'm not sharing with anyone. Okay, that is sole traders. So you need to know the advantages and disadvantages if you want to operate as a sole trader, right? And you need to know the importance of preparing the income statement and statement of financial position. You need to get the difference also between trading business and service business. What is trading business? Basically, I buy and sell. I buy finished good, I sell finished good to my customers. That is trading business. What is service business or service industry? Like hospitals. They provide services to you. They don't sell anything to you, but they provide their services to you, like doctors provide their services to you. So you must know the difference between trading and service industry. And you must also know how to prepare income statement for trading industry and service industry. Okay, so that one you have to be clear on. Okay, what else we have here? Okay, recognize and define the content of the, okay, you must know your assets, intangible assets, current asset, and so and so. And then preparation of all your financial statement. You see here, make adjustment for provision for depreciation, make adjustment for accrued and prepaid, make adjustment for irrecoverable, and so, which I just showed you just now, right? So you have to take all into consideration, then you prepare your financial statement. Okay, that is for sole trader. Then we also have partnership. What is partnership? Simply when more than one person join together and run an organization, so we call it as partnership. So you must also know what are the pros and cons of partnership. Okay, if you want to do one-man show, what are the pros and cons? If you want to get partners, what are the pros and cons? Right? So also the same thing, yeah? So outline the importance and contents of a partnership agreement. So you must have an agreement, right, when you're in partnership, because two persons involved. So we don't want conflicts. Therefore, we write it in an agreement. Okay, you take 50%, I take 50%. You do this work, I do this work. Right? Okay, that is very important. And also, you need to prepare an appropriation account. So you need to understand, yeah, if sole proprietorship, what are the accounts I'm going to prepare? If partnership, what are the accounts that I'm going to prepare? Right? So you take note. Sole trader is very easy, just income statement and your balance sheet. But when you are in a partnership, then you need to prepare an extra account. We call it as appropriation account. So we will also have capital account. We also will have current account for each partners. Right? Okay, you have to take note on that. Okay, there's a note here, yeah? You can see at the bottom there. Candidates will not be required to answer questions on the admission or departure of a partner. So for your level, so you only have to know what are the pros and cons, how to prepare the appropriation account, how to prepare the capital account, how to prepare the current account. That's it. If a new partner coming in, what type of entry you have to do? What is the procedure? So you don't have to know. If an existing partner is leaving, okay, what is the procedure? You don't need to know. Right? Okay, that's what they say there, yeah? Or the dissolution of a partnership or changes to a profit sharing ratio. So you don't worry about all this. Anyway, there won't be any questions on this also in your IG exam. All right? Okay, then next one, we saw sole trader, we saw partnership. Now we have limited companies. Right? Okay, I'm sure you know what are limited companies, right? You see private limited companies, public limited companies. So you need to also understand the pros and cons to operate as a limited company. The meaning of limited liability. You know what is liability, right? It's an OV. You need to understand the capital structure. Like you have ordinary share, you have preference share, you have general reserve, you have retained earnings. All this we have actually seen in our statement of changes of equity, right? So you need to know how to prepare that. So here we have another extra statement of changes in equity, right? So you need to differentiate. Yeah, you need to understand what is preference share, what is ordinary share, what are the features of different types of shares, right? And loan capital, debentures. So all this you need to understand clearly the difference. So you need to prepare income statement, statement of changes in equity, and statement of financial position. So here got one extra statement here. Where in sole trader, I only have income statement and statement of financial position. But here in limited companies, I got one more extra here, statement of changes in equity. Whereby in partnership, I got my appropriation account, I got my capital account, I got my current account. Right? So this is your understanding, yeah, in which type of organization, what is the procedure? What is the format of the financial statement that I'm preparing? So all this you need to understand. Okay, so there's a note there. Candidates will not be expected to understand cumulative and non-cumulative preference share. Don't worry about it. Right issue, share premium, capital redemption. I think all this we never cover, yeah, so don't have to worry about it. But however, candidates should understand the difference between redeemable and non-redeemable preference share. Okay, that part you need to know, yeah. When you talk about preference share, you must know if it's redeemable, what does it mean? If it's non-redeemable, what does it mean? Okay, so that take note of that. And other than these three, we also have clubs and societies. Okay, here also you have extra things that you need to prepare, right? Here what I see is receipts and payments account, income and expenditure account. Right, we don't see receipts and payment in all the other types of organization. Correct? But here you see receipts and payment, and we don't call it as income statement, but instead we call it as income and expenditure account. Okay, you see the differences? So all this you must understand, yeah? And then clubs and society, you need to prepare like refreshment or subscriptions. Like in the club itself, sometimes you have small stores, right? So you need to prepare accounts for all the stores, right? And then the word that you need to know is accumulated funds. So like in limited company, what we call? We just say ordinary share or preference share, right? But like in sole trader, what we call? We just say capital. In a partnership, also you say capital. But when you come to clubs and society, we don't say it as capital. What we say it as? We will say it as accumulated fund. Because where the fund come from? From the subscription from the members. Okay, good. Okay, these are the things you must be able to differentiate, yeah? So in the exam, read the question carefully, see which type of organization's account you're handling with. Is it a partnership? Is it a sole trader? Or is it a clubs and societies? Then you know what to do, right? Okay, then you also have manufacturing accounts, right? Just now, sole trader, what they do? They buy and they sell. What manufacturers will do? They don't buy and sell. They buy raw material, they make the product, and then they sell the product. And then here, the accounting will be different, right? Where when you buy the raw material, you have direct costs, you have indirect costs, you have direct materials, direct labor, you got prime costs, you got factory overheads. All these terms I don't see in other organizations. Correct, right? So then you have WIP. You have 3 types of inventory, right? Raw material inventory, WIP, work in progress inventory, and also your finished good inventory, right? And you should be able to calculate your cost of factory's cost of production. So when you're dealing with manufacturing account, you got 3 things you need to prepare: manufacturing account, income statement, and also statement of financial position. You don't have receipts and payments. You don't have other accounts, only these 3 accounts. Okay, and these are the terms that you have to deal with when you're working with manufacturing account. Okay, is that clear? So this is the thing that you need to, this is basically your objective one, yeah? Your knowledge and your understanding of each, on each type of organization, right? Okay, so we have sole traders, partnership, limited companies, clubs and societies, and manufacturing accounts. Only 5 that you have to remember, right? Okay, then the last one is incomplete records. Is basically explain the disadvantages of not maintaining a full set of accounting records. Okay, sometimes some information will be missing. So if you understand all this, yeah, how you're preparing it, then it's much easier for you to find the missing information, right? So if you don't understand the concept, if something is missing, then you do not know how to solve for it, right? So all this falls under your first objective. So take note of this, yeah. Candidates will only be asked on incomplete records in relation to sole trader business. So don't worry about other types of organization. So if there is any missing information, they will only test you in your IG level for sole trader business. Okay, that's very easy, right? Sole trader only got 2, right? Income statement and also your statement of financial position. That's it. Okay, make your life easier. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Once you already prepare your financial statement, what is my next step? I want to analyze. I want to make decision. How is my business doing? Right? Am I doing good or am I not doing good? Should I close shop? Right? So there comes your analysis and interpretation. Okay? So what we basically do in analysis and interpretation, for me to analyze, for me to understand my financial statement, I need to calculate some ratios. Okay, here you have some ratios. 1 to 8, yeah. I have a profitability ratio and also liquidity ratios here. Okay, all these formulas so said is not shared with you in your exam, so you need to memorize it, right? Okay, then next one will be interpretation. So basically whatever you calculate, you will get some numbers, right? Or in percentage or in times or whatever. So you need to be able to interpret the accounting ratios. Okay, that is the next one. Anything important there? Okay. Then once you calculate, you should be able to perform inter-firm comparison. That means you compare your ratio with another company and see how you're performing, or take the industry benchmark and compare. See how is your performance compared to the industry benchmark or compared to other industries. Yeah, we call it inter-firm comparison. And what next you need to know? 6.4, interested parties, yeah? Like owners, managers, trade payables, investors. Why do they need your financial statements? Why do you need to provide your financial statement to these interested parties here? Right? Not necessarily once I prepare financial statement, I share with everybody, right? Why I want to tell the whole world how much profit I'm making, right? So I only give to people who request to look at my financial statement. So you need to understand why I need to give it to them. Like for example, banks. Why do you think I need to give to the bank my financial statement? Maybe I'm applying for a loan, right? So I need to convince the bank that, look, I have enough, I have a very good cash flow. Therefore, you make sure you grant the loan. That means I have the capability to pay back the loan, the obligation, every month obligation, right? So that's the reason why I give to the banks my financial statement. If I'm not applying for a loan, I don't have to give to the bank my financial statement. I don't have to give to all the banks, only the banks that I'm applying loan from, right? Okay, that is something that you need to know also, yeah? Why sometimes to whom I need to provide my financial statement. Okay, then the next thing is you need to understand the limitations of accounting statement. I have historic costs, or many here, yeah? Like for example, historical costs. Okay, what is historical cost? Okay, let's say I buy this table 10 years ago. 10 years ago, this table is only 2 ringgit, let's say, yeah? So in my books, when I record it as 2 ringgit. After 10 years, maybe the table today costs 200 ringgit, but in my book says what? Only 2 ringgit. So those are some of the limitations of accounting statements. I don't know what is the market value. So what is stated in my book is the historical costs, right? So you need to know about all that as well, the limitation of accounting statements. Okay, these are commonly used accounting ratios. I think I showed you earlier. So all these formulas, so sad, you need to memorize it and you need to know, right? I think we did a lot more ratios in class, but just focus on these 8. Gross margin, profit margin, ROCE, and then this one here. They won't ask you anything out of these ratios. Okay, Ken? Okay, so that is about ratios. Okay, last one, you cannot run away from principles and policies, right? Not only in accounting, in any subjects, yeah? So you need to know all the principle here, yeah? What is matching principle? What is consistency? What is going concern principle? What is historic cost? And so and so. What is prudence concept and all? This is just theory, the last part, right? And some of the policies down here, comparability, relevance, reliability, understandability. So when you prepare your accounting statement, you must follow to the standards of accounting statement. Why? Because this is worldwide recognized. Yeah. If I prepare my accounts in Malaysia, also my financial statement, and I give it to someone who's working in UK, the way I interpret and they interpret will be the same. Why? Because we are using the same standards, policies, principles to prepare our financial statements, right? Okay, so that is the last one. So the last part is actually basically theory, yeah? Just read up. I think I've already explained to you this one, yeah? Paper 1 and paper 2. So paper 1 covers objective 1 and 2. Paper 2 covers all the 3 objectives. This is just a repetition, right? So what they just take note of this one, yeah? The paper 2, candidates answer all questions. You are given 5 questions and you're supposed to answer all the questions, right? So candidates should be aware of the marks for each part question. So always look at the marks, yeah? If the marks is only 1, don't go and write half a page, right? So if they just ask you to state 1 point, just state 1 point is enough. Don't waste your time. Time management is very important, right? Yeah, there. Candidates should use them as a guide to the amount of detail and length of response expected and to help them manage their time effectively. Right? So as I said just now, each question is 20 marks. And paper 2 is 1 hour, 45 minutes. It's about 105 minutes. Right? And you have 5 questions. Okay, we keep the 5 minutes away. We have 100 minutes. So you can just divide, yeah? Time management, maybe you take 20 minutes each question. 5 questions, right? 20 times 5, 100 minutes. So give 5 minutes for reading time. Reading and understanding the question is very important. Spend 5 minutes reading it and then start answering the question. And at the same time, look at the grades also, the marks allocated. So if it's only 1 mark, don't spend a lot of time. If it's 3 marks, then you spend some time to write more, right? Okay, once you already reach the 20 minutes, don't stick to that same question, jump to another question, even if you don't finish it, so that you get the opportunity to attempt all the question. So towards the end, let's say you still have time, then you go back to the question that you have not finished yet. Okay, that's very important, yeah? Because sometimes the mistake students do is you spend a lot of time, you want to finish the first one perfectly, then only you want to move on. That is wrong strategy, right? Time yourself, wear your watch, don't forget. Time yourself, finish 20 minutes, just jump to another question. Okay? So, yeah. These are some of the common words, yeah? Common words that they will use in asking question in your accounting paper. Okay, you can go through this. Like you see, yeah, if they ask you to advise, write down a suggested course. If they ask you to analyze, means you examine it in detail and then write your answer in detail. If they ask you to assess what to do, if they ask you to calculate, then make sure you give detailed working, right? If they ask you to comment and so, yeah, you can see all that here. You have many here. If they ask you to evaluate, if they ask you to examine, investigate closely. They really want the detailed answer, right? If they put examine, explain, set out the purposes or reasons and so, yeah. Okay, so these are some of the words that they're going to use. Prepare, present information in a suitable format. Normally they say prepare income statement, prepare balance sheet, prepare this statement, that statement. So they want the detailed statement with the correct format, right? State, express in clear terms. Okay, I just give some examples here. But anyway, we're already discussing this in class, right? How to answer. Like for example, the first one, state one way Xuan could pay his suppliers from his bank account other than by check. Let's say 1 mark. State, just state it. Don't try to create one sentence with correct grammatical order and all that, right? They just say state, right? Just state it. Like for example here, you put the answer, direct debit. Okay, enough. 1 mark. Or internet transfer, telephone transfer, or credit transfer, or use debit card or credit card. Done. No need to put, he has to use credit card other than check. Not necessary. Because they just ask you to state. Right? So let's say they ask you to, the second question, yeah? Advise Xuan so and so and so. Justify your answer by providing 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages of stopping using cash. Okay, this one is very common. I noticed lately, yeah? They've been asking like this. You can see a lot of question with advice, right? So when I ask you to do that, even though if they don't say provide 2 advantages and 2 disadvantages, yeah, the marking scheme is actually 5 marks when they ask you to advise. So what do? Just write there 2 pros, 2 cons, and 1 recommendation. Right? Like here, you can see the answer, advantages of stopping using cash. And then you see disadvantages of stopping using cash. 2 marks, 2 marks. And another 1 mark will be recommendation. Okay, recommendation is very subjective. Right? So there is no right or wrong answer. It's just how you justify your answer. Okay, is that clear? Right? So normally advice type of question is always 5 marks, yeah? So always remember 2 advantages, 2 disadvantages, and 1 recommendation. Yeah? If you see the word state, just 1 answer. Just simple answer, simple word. Don't waste time. Okay? So look at the other common words as well. This is just an example for you. Okay, so far so good, yeah? So roughly you understand, yeah, the contents? Okay. So now let's look at the marking guide. Marks awarded are always whole marks, yeah? They don't give you half mark, quarter mark, or whatever marks, right? So if your answer is correct, you either get 1 mark or you get 0 marks, right? So make sure you write everything correctly. Like for instance, when you do ledgers, yeah? You have your date, you have your details, and you have your amount, right? So make sure the detail and the amount is correct. So one thing wrong, everything is wrong. So just be careful, yeah. Make sure the detail and the amount is written correctly, right? And then overall, they will look at the dates and they also give you marks for the dates. So make sure the dates are also there. Everything that you write in your ledger or journal or any financial statement, every part is important. Everything will be graded, right? Don't miss out anything. So marks are awarded for correct or valid answers as defined in the mark scheme. Okay. However, credit will also be given for valid answers which go beyond the scope of the syllabus and mark scheme. So you don't have to memorize your mark scheme when you do your past year questions. As long as you got the answer correct, even though it is not same as your mark scheme, you still get marks if your answer is reasonable, right? So marks are awarded when candidates clearly demo what they know and can do. So if you can show us that you understand what you're doing, even though the final answer is wrong, you will still get marks, right? You just have to demo that you know what you're doing, right? And marks are not deducted for errors. So let's say when you do ledgers, supposed to be only 7 entries, but you put there 8 entries, 1 additional entry. So that additional entry is not correct, right? But they don't minus mark for the errors, right? And marks are not deducted for omission. Let's say 7 entry, you only put 6 entries. The 1 entry is missing, they don't deduct marks also. They give marks for whatever is correct in your, let's say, ledger. Okay? So don't worry, don't be hesitant. Should I write or shouldn't write? If I write, they minus mark. I don't want that. No, it's okay. Don't worry. You just do whatever you know. If it's correct, you get marks. If it's not correct, no deduction of marks. Okay? Right. Okay, that's a little bit about marking guide. Okay. So some tips for you. Past year papers for now, you have 2-3 weeks time, right? Your best friend, right? So just keep on practicing your past year papers. Fine, you must know your study style by now, right? Don't study last minute. That's very dangerous. They don't work, in fact, right? And be well prepared. Manage your time, like what I said just now. It's very, very important, right? Okay, for now, I understand you have other units as well. Okay, that is another type of management. So you also must manage your time very well to do your revision for your exams. Don't like tomorrow accounting paper, today only I want to go through everything. Okay, that is wrong way of doing it, right? And when you're sitting in the exam hall, that is another type of management of time. Where, as I told you just now, just put 20 minutes. I'm talking about paper 2. 20 minutes for each question. Cannot finish, just leave it. Go to the next question, right? Tackle easy questions first. Okay, you have that 5 minutes extra time, right? Okay, if you want, you quickly glance through all your 5 questions. So you roughly will know, right, which one is the easy question. Tackle the easy question first, right? Normally in exams, the questions are actually ordered according to the difficulty. That means the first one is the easiest, second one is a little bit difficult, little bit difficult, and so and so. Normally, but anyway, you can just run through, all right? And then the most important, read the instruction carefully, properly. This is where mistakes always happen. Because you all are very nervous and you all are very scared during the exam. So what you'll do is when you all get the question, you see, oh, this is a sole trader, and you quickly start doing it. You don't read that instruction correctly. Maybe there's some hidden keyword in the instruction. Like for example, let's say they ask you to do journal entries, right? Sometimes they say narratives are required. Sometimes they will say narratives not required, right? So if you don't read the instruction and you just simply go into the journal and put the narrative, you're wasting your time, right? Writing the narrative. Maybe the question said no need narratives, right? So make sure you read the instructions properly, carefully before you start answering the question. Ken? Okay, so these are some tips that I can share with you. And good luck in your exams. Keep your mind positive, healthy, eat healthy food, drink a lot of water, and you can do it. All right? Okay, thank you very much.